All right, everybody, good morning. Time for part 3 of the outside linebacker series on this channel. And the first two videos posted yesterday were all about the guys in the top 100. And because this draft is so stacked with outside linebackers, I needed two videos to go over all of them. But that doesn't mean we're leaving out the sleepers. So today we're going to take a look at guys who are probably going to go on day 3 and might not go at all. Some of these guys may go undrafted, but for one reason or another, they've caught my attention. And look, the Seahawks are going into this draft with Darrell Taylor, Nwosu, and if you want to include Alton Robinson while we're here, you can. So we don't have an immediate need for a player right this very second. So if you want to draft a guy who's going to take a year, maybe even 2 years to develop, that's okay. We have some time to kill here to develop a guy. And don't get me wrong, I might rather be developing a guy like Boy Mafe or Arnold Ebiketie or David Ojabo. But if you want to get your edge fix in day 3 of the draft, I think that's fine. It's not like we have a gaping hole at that spot and need to fill it with somebody who's ready to go day 1. We can absolutely take our time and sit a dude down for at least a year if we decide that is the direction that we want to go. So any outside linebacker edge sleeper is interesting to me. We have some options there. And we're going to start with a guy who has already been linked to the Seahawks. Apparently the Seahawks really like this guy. They're very interested in him. And there's every reason to believe they will make him one of their day 3 selections. We're going to start with Dangelo Malone of Western Kentucky. This is a guy the Seahawks have supposedly met with, watched at his, I think his pro day, and generally seem to be very intrigued by. 6'3", 243 pounds, ran a very nice 40 time, 4.56, 23 bench press reps at the combine. That 40 time is up there with guys like Thibodeau. Apparently, by the way, the pronunciation is Thibodeau. So he's very fast for this area of the draft for an edge player. And he had 4 very productive years at Western Kentucky. The first year, 2018, 60 tackles, 9 for loss, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. 2019, he had 99 tackles. Very high tackle count for a lineman, for an edge player. 20 and a half for loss, 11 sacks, monster numbers. 2020, 71 tackles. That tackle count in 2019 was not a fluke at all. 10 and a half for loss, makes a ton of plays in the backfield, 6 sacks, 8 sacks. This most recent year, 17 and a half tackles for loss, 94 totals, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 4 pass deflections. This guy has incredible production. Now, obviously, he's doing it at a smaller school, but it is still definitely very notable. And because of that production, ESPN has gone a little bit crazy, and they actually think he could be a second-round pick. Now, I don't see that happening at all, but he may end up going in the 4th round. PFF, the Draft Network, and Walter Football think he's probably going to go there. CBS has him in the 4th to 5th round range more so. But you're probably looking at an early day 3 selection. Excuse me. And look for the Seahawks to strongly consider using one of those picks on this guy. The production, like I said, is incredible. He's got massive tackle stats for a lineman, so you know he's making plays. He's not just setting up other people to make plays. He's making the plays himself. He can play in a 2-point stance or a 3-point stance, so there's no doubt he's going to be able to contribute in a hybrid defense. There's no doubt that he's going to be able to do a lot of very good things in what is supposedly a defense that is going to require him to play both ways. 2-point stance, 3-point stance. He's very fast. Overall, he's a great athlete. He's great at switching direction. He's great at putting his foot down, stopping, and then launching himself the other way. He's high effort. He's got good length. This is a guy who I can see why the Seahawks are interested in him. So a lot of stuff to like here. Some of the issues that Dangelo Malone may encounter. Lack of strength. He's not that strong. He's unproven playing in space. So what I mean by that is his ability to cover has not really been tested in college. It's theoretical right now. He's got the speed to do it, he's got the athletic profile to do it, but he didn't really do it in college. As you can see, he lived in the backfield in college. So, will he be able to drop back into zone coverage on occasion? We're going to have to find out. Theoretically, he should be able to do it, but that is no guarantee. He can struggle a little bit against the run, and I know that sounds weird because he made so many plays in the backfield and has so many tackles, but I do think he can get pushed around a little bit. And overall, he's a lean player, which means he is going to get out-muscled from time to time. But Dangelo Malone, definitely a guy the Seahawks will look to take in day 3, I think. Next up, we have Jeffrey Gunter from Coastal Carolina. This is another sleeper prospect I have my eye on. Ayaan, 6'4", 258 pounds. Ran a 4.740, 7.213 cone, 4.35 20-yard shuttle. Measurables in that regard are okay, not the best, but decent, passable, fine. And he brings some interesting stuff to the table. So, 2018, he splashed onto the scene, almost 50 tackles, 14 for loss, 5 sacks. Looked like he was really coming along. And then he missed all of 2019. And then he came back in 2020 and kept it up. 58 tackles, 12.5 for loss, 6.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. Wow. Making some big hits. He forced 9 fumbles in 3 years of college football. That's got to mean something. 2021, he didn't produce quite as much, but still had 5.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Still produced. Still looks like a good prospect. ESPN and Walter Football think he could go in like the 4th round-ish. CBS is more like in the 7th round, and PFF thinks he will be lucky to go in the 7th. So, possible he falls all the way to UDFA. I think you are looking at a 4th round pick for Gunter, though. And I would be intrigued. He's large. He's a lot bigger than a guy like Dangelo Malone. And he's got the strength to back up that size. He can push linemen around. He forces runs to the inside. He's really good at setting the edge in the run game. He's got a strong bull rush. He can just push a lineman back into the pocket, back into the quarterback in order to make him uncomfortable. All around, Jeffrey Gunter is going to be a guy who can defend the run at a very high level and also has the strength you need to collapse the pocket and get some quarterback pressure. So I think that Jeffrey Gunter is somebody who could make an immediate contribution as a run defender. The issues with him are that while I do like his bull rush, he needs a more variety of pass rush moves. You wouldn't call him explosive or fast. He's not going to beat any offensive lineman with a quick twitch pass rush move to the outside where he just outruns him and gets around him. That's not really his game. So you are definitely looking at more of a run defender. Might be more like a Kerry Hyder than anything else, but guys like Kerry Hyder have value, especially in this division. So Jeffrey Gunter is on my radar for sure. Next up, we have Ali Fayyad. He was a guy who not a whole lot of people thought too much of during the draft process, but at another smaller school, Western Michigan, he was very productive, particularly in the most recent season. 6'2", 248, 4.89 40, which is, it's slow. His 3-cone was not great either. His 20-yard shuttle was not very good. 28 bench press reps, though. Nice. So you would say his measurables give you a player who's not very fast, but he is strong. His numbers at Western Michigan were pretty good the first 2 years. Then he missed 2020, and he came back in 2021 with a vengeance. 17.5 tackles for loss and 12 sacks. Lived in the backfield. And I could only find one big board that even had his name. It was the Draft Network. They had him going barely undrafted. So, given the fact that this guy isn't getting very much attention, why would the Seahawks consider taking him? He's a great fit for a hybrid. I think he can play outside linebacker in a 3-4 and defensive end in a 4-3. So if you're running that hybrid defense, he's going to fit in well. The 2021 campaign speaks for itself. 12 sacks, 17.5 tackles for loss. He's going to be effective as a pass rusher, especially in a complicated defense that does a lot of exotic blitzing. I think he's going to be good at that. He's a playmaker. He's not somebody who just sets other people up for plays. He's a playmaker himself. He how should I put this? He might not be pigeonholed into one particular role. Um, he might be good as an outside linebacker in a 3-4, but he also might be good as a Sam linebacker in a 4-3, as well as defensive end in a 4-3. And I think he's also going to be very good on special teams. So this is a guy who's going to find multiple ways to contribute for a team. So Ali Fayyad definitely, at the very least, is giving you some value as a special teamer, and I think he can go beyond that. The issues with him are that it seems like he might be a bit of a tweener. Like, he's not fast like you would like an outside linebacker to be. He's not quite athletic enough or to be a great pass rushing defensive end where he's just rushing with his hand in the dirt. So he might end up being a guy who never really finds a role that he can excel in. He might find a couple roles that he's okay in, but he might not find that magical area in the NFL where he can really contribute. I do think there's a very good chance he ends up playing 4-3 Sam linebacker in the NFL, which is a lot less valuable to us right now than 3-4 edges. And he is slow. He ran a 4.940. That speaks for itself. Okay, next up we have Dominique Robinson from Miami of Ohio, 6'5", 253 pounds, 4.7240 and 20 bench presses. So a little bit quicker than some of the previous guys, but overall you wouldn't call him super quick or super strong, I don't think. He really only has 1 year of stats. He really didn't do a whole lot in college, which is why he's probably going to end up as a day 3 pick, but there is some interesting talent to try to tap into here. The one season he played a significant number of snaps. He had 8.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. Not bad, but not exactly a huge resume here, so let's figure this out. Despite the lack of production, Sports Illustrated actually thinks he could go in the 3rd round. ESPN says 4th round, and everywhere else says somewhere from the 6th round to undrafted. So you're probably looking at like a 6th round pick in my estimation. Okay, so he's very quick and agile, which I know this 40 time doesn't necessarily indicate that, but he's good at switching direction in space. He's good at playing. I think that he's capable in coverage. I think that he is able to do the things to get around offensive linemen. He's explosive into the backfield. He's somebody who is capable of using his first step and his bend to get to the quarterback quickly. He doesn't have a lot of experience playing defense, as you can tell from the stat line. I think he was originally recruited to play wide receiver or something. So he's kind of new, which means he's going to learn the nuances of playing defense in the NFL as time goes by. And that's going to be something that you benefit from when you draft him or get him in UDFA, because he wasn't able to show those things in college. But logically speaking, you're going to get better at something the more you do it. Like I said, I think he's capable in coverage as well. He does need a lot of development. He is a mixed bag against the run. There is some stuff that he does that I like against the run, but sometimes I think he can mess up his run fits a little bit. And he overall just needs a lot of help with his technique as a pass rusher. I think he's very raw right now, and he does win on talent and agility and quickness and explosion, but he needs work. But hey, we have time to work on somebody. So definitely got Robinson in my mind as a late day 3 target. Noah Burks is next up. This is another guy who was only on one big board that I could find, but he caught my eye. Wisconsin player, 6'2", 235 pounds, so a little bit lighter than you might like. 4.8240, 7.23 cone, 4.25 20-yard shuttle. So the 40's not great, but the 3 cone and 20-yard shuttle are okay. 14 bench presses, so we're not off to the best of starts in terms of combine measurables, but bear with me here a little bit. He really only has 1 season at Wisconsin where he put up notable stats. 42 tackles, 8 for loss, 3 sacks, and an interception. And he didn't get a lot of attention from the big boards. The Draft Network has him as like a 6th or 7th round guy, and that's about it. However, I do think that he has potential to fit in well in a 3-4. He's somebody who can drop back into zone coverage very well. I think that if you tell him to just worry about the slants or the quick curls, then, or excuse me, the flats as well, then I think he can do that very well. He's high football IQ. He was a locker room leader for Wisconsin. He was somebody who helped get other players into position and teach them where they needed to be and what to do. He's strong against the run. He's somebody who can set the edge and make plays from the backside. Always giving high effort, always putting 100% in. He is a little bit smaller than you would like, and he's not a great athlete, which is typically the trade-off you would see for small size. So that's not great. He is a little older than the average prospect, and he does struggle in man coverage. But there's something about Noah Burks that did kind of catch my attention here. Being able to play well against the run in this division does have value because we're playing the 49ers twice a year. The Cardinals right now are a threat on the ground because of Kyler. So we need to think about these things a little bit more. Final guy for this video is David Ane. And I probably did not get that right, but David Ane, well, let's call him David. Pretty interesting prospect, a guy I think you could get undrafted, and he's somebody that, for an undrafted guy, I'm really into. Houston, I believe they are the Cougars, 6'3", 251 pounds, so he's got the size on lockdown, 4.6740, actually not bad for this part of the draft. 2018, he had basically, I don't think he was ever a full-time player at Houston, but all these statistical lines that he had in his college career are kind of the same, right? Anywhere from 17 to 30 tackles, 6.5 to 10 tackles for loss, 4 to 5 sacks. It's kind of like he didn't really get that much better. His 2021 was probably a little bit better than previous years, but he was somebody who was just a consistent, productive player for the Cougars during his 4-year career. I found him on 3 big boards. They all have him going undrafted. TDN likes him the best. They think he could be one of the best UDFAs in the class, but ESPN and CBS both had him in the mid-300s. I like him, though. He gets quick pressure off the edge. He's not somebody who's slow off the snap, like you would expect from a lot of guys in this range. He's quick and twitchy coming off the snap. He's long. He's got a lot of length to him. His arms are long. High motor, always given 100%. He plays well in space. He's both a bull rusher and a speed rusher. He can win both ways with his strength and with his speed. I love that. He has a variety of moves. He's already got, like the swim move a little bit. He's got the spin. He can do all these things. He can hold his space against the run, and I think he will fit in very well in a hybrid defense. He'll be able to play in both sides. He does need to improve his general awareness on the football field, I think. His football IQ could stand to be boosted a couple points. And even though I'm impressed with his ability as a pass rusher, I think he has some variety he needs to add. But for UDFA, I really like David. And I don't know why people are sleeping on him so much as a draft prospect. I like this guy. And that's it for outside linebacker edge sleepers. So 18 guys in total at the position. Let me know what you guys think. Did I miss anybody? There is Adam Anderson, but because of the legal issues he's facing, I'm not really going to say too much about him. So if you guys have any thoughts, just let me know. But those are the 6 guys that I see as being day 3 sleepers. If Adam Anderson gets his legal situation sorted out before the draft, then we can revisit him. But I'll leave that for a future date. And tomorrow we will be swinging into inside linebackers. Another position that has a lot of really good players in this draft, and a position where the Seahawks could use some help. But that's for tomorrow. I will see you guys later. Peace out. Go Hawks. Video will be coming out later today as well. There will also be a... there might not be a Twitch stream tonight, but go ahead and check out my Twitch. We stream at least 4 times a week. And hope to see you guys there. Go Hawks.